Alright, I'm finally here to face you. Oh, he fell off the mountain. What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 strongest champions in Pokemon. But before we start, I just want to say two things. The first thing is, Show Your Moves is back on February 29th at 6:30 p.m. EST. And if you don't know what Show Your Moves is, it's an annual Super Smash Bros. Tournament I host on my main channel with YouTubers all around the world. So be sure to mark your calendars for February 29th at 6:30 p.m. EST. And don't forget to ring that bell to get notified. The second thing is, I have to give a big shout out to the Pokemon Company for sponsoring this video. They sent over the new Pokemon Sword and Shield booster boxes and they look really cool. I was looking through all the cards and I came across this Snorlax VMAX 1 and I have to get it. I hope I pull it. And also look at this Doug trio. It's like scaring the other Doug trios with those wicked eyes. So yeah, I'm really excited to open up these booster boxes and a big thank you to the Pokemon Company. So yeah, with those two things said, without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Alright, here we go. Starting with the weakest Elite Four member out of the top 10 in this video, we have Alder. Now, here's the thing with Alder. He is a very old man in the state that we battle him in Black and White. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was a lot stronger in his youthful days, but I'm mainly ranking these champions in the game that they're presented in. So with Alder, I'm sorry bud, but I have to rank you as an old champion who was defeated by N and taken over by a 12-year-old. And yes, we'll get to that 12-year-old later in this video because she is like an absolute prodigy. But with Alder, there aren't that many things going for him. Like for one, it is suggested that he didn't even become champion by winning the title. Instead, Gita suggests that the Unova League just asked him to become champion because they needed one. And for two, in the storyline, he was bodied by the most characters out of any champion because Lance was defeated by Blue, which was one person, and then Alder was defeated by N and Gitas, which were two. And no champion in the storyline should be defeated by more than one person, if not any. Yeah, Alder just doesn't have that much going for him, and it's too bad because his character reminds me of Jiraiya from Naruto, and I love Jiraiya. He was awesome. But yeah, unfortunately, Alder is the weakest of the bunch, and that is why he's number 10 on this list. Number 9. Now, for number 9, we have the second and last champion who was given the title just because the league needed a champion. So with that said, for number 9, we have Wallace. Now, if you didn't know, the reason why Wallace became the champion in Pokemon Emerald is because Steven Stone decided to step down because he wanted to pursue his passion of collecting and finding rare rocks. Which is kind of cliche because his last name is Stone, but whatever you want to do, man. But anyways, getting back to Wallace, the reason why I rate him above Alder is because of two things. For one, he is the guardian of the Cave of Origin, which is known as the cave where life begins, so I feel like it's a pretty big deal if it needs multiple guards and also needs to be hidden in a hidden city. It just seems very important and intertwined with Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza. And for two, he has access to the Sky Pillar, which is a place where only worthy trainers can go, as well as draconic people and the descendants of the original Sootopolitans. And with Wallace, he is a champion and the only known original descendants of the Sootopolitans, so he is held at a very high honor. But besides those two things, Wallace doesn't really have that much else going for him because his team is pretty lackluster. I mean, if you think about it, he has 3 Pokemon that are 4 times weak to Freeze Dry, which is not a good look. And also, the monotyping isn't what a champion should do, in my opinion, because champions are supposed to be the hardest trainer in the region. Like, I shouldn't be able to go in there and sweep your entire team with 2 Pokemon. So yeah, Wallace doesn't really stack up to the rest of the champions on this list, so that is why I put him at number 9. Number 8. Now for number 8, we have our first Mega Evolution user champion. So with that said, for number 8, I chose Diantha. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard ranking Diantha on this list because it just came down to one thing that made her number 8 instead of number 6. But I'll touch on that later in this video. Now, Diantha has the power of Mega Evolution, which is a huge deal because only very powerful trainers can entrust their Pokemon enough to make them evolve beyond what they're normally capable of. And to be completely honest, that is why I put Diantha over Wallace and Alder, because neither of them have Mega Pokemon. which is kind of surprising because even in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Wallace didn't have a Mega Pokemon. He had a Love Disc instead, which I still give him a lot of flack for because you were the champion. Why do you have a Love Disc instead of Mega Evolution in a timeline where Mega Evolution exists? Unless in this timeline, he was never the champion and Steven Stone never stepped down to go collect rocks. That is very interesting, but it'll be a topic for another video. But getting back to Diantha, there really isn't much to say besides her Mega Evolution and the fact that she's ahead of the Battle Chateau. Although her overall team is pretty good, but it doesn't help with the fact that she is so easy to defeat because you get the XP all so early on in the game. Pokemon X and Y's difficulty is it's a joke. It's just so easy. And that fact really pushes her down in this list. I mean, she's good, but she is not the best. Or you could say she is the best, but not the greatest. Either way, that is why she is number 8 on this list.
Number 7.
Now this next one is a champion of many forms because he has debuted in like 4 games, so he could be very weak but also very strong. And it pays me to put him this low on the list, but I have to. So with that said, for number 7, I chose Lance. Now for this video, I want to rank the champions by their best form in their respective games. So with Lance, his best form would be the rematch in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But before we go into the Heart Gold Soul Silver team, I do want to mention that it is very impressive that Lance had Dragonites evolved at level 50 instead of level 55. And on top of that, he had a Dragonite who knew Barrier and also an Aerodactyl who knew Rock Slide, 2 moves that these Pokemon could not learn normally. And out of all the champions, there's only one other occasion where there's a Pokemon who was evolved before they were supposed to, which was Iris's Hydreigon. But again, we'll talk about this prodigy later on. So that makes Lance the only champion to ever have a Pokemon with moves that it doesn't normally learn, which definitely gives Lance a lot of points in this list. But here's the thing, the reason why Lance is so low on this list is because of the person that's above him. And I just can't justify the person that's above Lance to be better than the person that's above that person. And I feel like you guys know who I'm talking about, and we'll get to him very shortly. But yeah, the champion above Lance made things very difficult for this top 10. But anyways, getting back to his rematched Heart Gold Soul Silver team, he is absolutely stacked. He has 3 pseudo-legendaries, 2 of which are holding items, a starter Pokemon, a very powerful Dragon type, and also a Gyarados. This might be one of the most impressive teams out of all the champions on this list. But again, the champion that's above Lance made things very difficult for this ranking. And if it weren't for that one champion, Lance would be a lot higher. And just to put the icing on the cake, Lance helped take down Team Rocket, which is also very impressive. But yeah, I could totally see Lance being number 5 or even number 4 for this list if it weren't for the champion that's coming up next. So unfortunately, that is why he is number 7 for this list. Poor Lance.
Number 6.
Now for number 6, as you probably guessed, is Blue, the infamous rival of the first generation games. And man, Blue has 2 things to him that help his case and destroys his case. The first thing that helps his case is the fact that he defeated Lance as a 10-year-old, which is very impressive and honestly insane when you think about it. But the second thing that destroys him is the fact that he lost the champion title within an hour of gaining it, and then was downgraded to a gym leader in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So you see how he made things difficult for this video. It's hard to rank Lance when he was defeated by Blue. Lance is amazing. Blue, on the other hand, may not be the best champion there ever was. But don't get me wrong, Blue is still a very powerful trainer and maybe the best gym leader of all time. But as a champion, he doesn't really compare. And if it weren't for that feat of defeating Lance, I'd probably rank him around number 9. So yeah, for those reasons, that is why I chose Blue for number 6 on this list.
Number 5.
Now for number 5, this is the champion that I couldn't rank Blue up against because he is just a lot stronger. So with that said, for number 5, I chose Steven Stone. Now trust me, if Blue wasn't a factor in this video, I would have definitely ranked Lance over Steven Stone, but unfortunately, that's not the case. But besides that point, Steven is still a complete monster because his team is really good. And frankly, out of all the champions, Steven might be the bulkiest of the bunch because his team has 12 different resistances throughout his Pokemon. And not only that, he has 2 immunities, so it takes a lot to get through him. And I'm not gonna lie, his mastery of being a Steel-type Pokemon trainer is what carries him to number 5. His team is just very solid, no pun intended. And something that I found very interesting and didn't even know is the fact that you can actually battle Steven in Meteor Falls in Pokemon Emerald. He's like the Red of Pokemon Crystal. You can battle him as like a final boss and his team is just next level. And to put the icing on the cake, Steven is capable of Mega Evolution, and not just with a regular Pokemon, but with a pseudo-legendary, which is saying a lot. So yeah, Steven's team just really carries him in this ranking, and that is why I put him at number 5 for this list.
Number 4.
Now here we are, our first prodigy of this champion list. So with that said, for number 4, I chose Iris. Now let me tell you guys something, Iris is overpowered. She is just incredibly broken. Not only was she a gym leader at 10 years old, but she also became the champion at 12. And during those 2 years, she was taught by Drayden, a Dragon Master, and she surpassed him. You would have to be a prodigy to master Dragon types in only 2 years and then become the champion. Because I feel like Dragon types are probably the hardest to train in the lore of Pokemon. In the earlier games, they are known as the mythical Pokemon and take a lifetime to train. And Iris, this 12-year-old, did it in 2 years. On top of that, her rematch challenge mode team is stacked. Like, incredibly stacked. All of them have items, and they're all competitive items. They're all level 81, and her ace is level 83. This team will 100% combat Lance's rematch team in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It is that good. And on top of that, most of her Pokemon on her team level up slowly, and being able to get them to that high level in only 2 years is just very impressive. So yeah, Iris definitely deserves being known as one of the strongest champions of all time. She is incredibly powerful, and for those reasons, that is why she is number 4 on this list.
Number 3.
Now guys, before we get into the top 3, I just want to mention that these 3 champions are interchangeable, so each one of them could easily be the best in a given circumstance. And also, be sure to take these rankings with a grain of salt, because these 3 are pretty controversial, I would say. So with that disclaimer out of the way, starting with the 3rd strongest in my opinion is Red. Now, the reason why Red is the only main protagonist on this video is because he is the only protagonist to be canonically a champion. In Pokemon Crystal on Cinnabar Island, Blue confirms that Red defeated him, which therefore makes Red a champion canonically. Now, the reason why Red is one of the strongest champions is because all the events that happened in Pokemon Red and Blue actually happened. At only 10 years old, he defeated all of the Kanto gym leaders, single-handedly took down Team Rocket, as well as defeating Giovanni, defeated Lance, which we all know is a very powerful champion, and then in the same stride defeated Blue without even hesitating, and then went off to catch Mewtwo, one of the strongest Pokemon to ever exist. And the reason how we know he caught Mewtwo is because Mewtwo isn't available in Pokemon Gold and Silver. And it's evident that he caught Mewtwo is because the item that Mewtwo normally holds, the Berserk Gene, is just floating around in the water. On top of all of those feats, Red has the highest level Pokemon out of every NPC outside the battle facilities with his Pikachu at level 88. His Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver team is just completely stacked with crazy level Pokemon. Although I don't think he would be able to beat Iris in her challenge mode rematch state. Well, it would be very close. But on that same note, Iris didn't defeat 2 champions back to back and take down an evil organization as well as catching the strongest Pokemon. So that's what really separates Red and Iris from number 3 and number 4. But yeah, Red is definitely one of the strongest champions to ever exist and could arguably be the strongest ever. But for this particular list, he isn't. He is number 3, but that is still saying a lot. And for all those reasons, that is why I put him at the 3rd strongest champion.
Number 2.
Now let me tell you, the difference between number 3 and number 2 is very small. So with that in mind, for number 2, I chose Cynthia. Now out of all the champions on this list, Cynthia is the smartest, most clever one by far. She is a low-key Pokemon savant, I would say. And that is one out of the 2 reasons why I chose Cynthia over Red. The other reason is that she's very knowledgeable of the legendary Pokemon, especially the Creation Trio. In Pokemon Platinum, she is so smart that she guides the player through the Distortion World. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, she guides the player to Arceus, the creator of everything. It is even said Cynthia spends her free time researching the history of various legendary Pokemon. And on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd be researching on Pokemon battling. Because in Pokemon Platinum, her whole team has perfect IVs, which is something that only a Pokemon Master will be able to do. And to my knowledge, she is the only champion, if not trainer, to have perfect IVs on all of her Pokemon. She is the real deal. And don't even get me started on her team. She has coverage all around. She has the No Weakness Spiritomb, the special attacking Roserade, the flinching Togekiss, the mixed attacker Lucario, the stalling Milotic, and the perfect Garchomp that can destroy almost anything. She is without a doubt the strongest champion of all time. Well, is what I would have said 5 months ago. Because number 1 has something that none of the champions have. Not even Cynthia. But nonetheless, Cynthia is incredibly strong, and that is why she is one of the best champions of all time. And for all those reasons, that is why I put Cynthia as the second strongest champion on this list.
Number 1.
Now here we are, the strongest champion on this list. And out of the top 3 champs, this may be the most controversial one. So with that said, for number 1, for the strongest champion on this list, we have Leon. Now Leon is on the top of this list for one simple reason, and that reason is the fact that he is canonically undefeated. There is not one champion before Leon that can claim that they've been undefeated all of their life. That is the one feat that only Leon has. And to put it simply, that one factor outweighs everything the previous champions had. It's quite literally anime plot armor reincarnated in Pokemon. The way Leon was written just makes him insanely good. But again, these top 3 champions should be taken with a grain of salt because they can all be number 1 in different perspectives. And even though I don't like it, from my perspective, I believe Leon is the best. And for that one reason alone, I believe Leon is the strongest champion of all time. And there you go, the top 10 strongest Pokemon champions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like if you did because I appreciate it a ton. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe because I upload pretty frequently now, being a full-time YouTuber and all. And don't forget to ring that bell because that notifies you even more. And if you want to be even more awesome, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or even join my Discord server because all those platforms are super cool. And also, I live stream every other day on my Dobbs gaming channel, so you should definitely check it out. We've been doing a lot of shiny hunting and Pokemon raids, so it's definitely a lot of fun. You can check down below in the description for my gaming channel link and subscribe if you want to. And finally, for the question of the video, who do you think is the strongest champion? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments because I'm going to read those comments and reply to them and be like, whoa, that's crazy. And yeah, that's all for this video, and I will see you guys next time. See ya!